Wagwan people, we end up back at it again with another video. Mm, mm. Yesterday, Chelsea lost 3-1 to West Ham away from home. So in this video, I'm just gonna unpack that for you and I'm gonna give you my thoughts, right? I'm not gonna lie, it's not gonna be a very positive review because no, it's not good enough. So yeah, but I'm hoping to end it on a positive note. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. So yesterday, I wasn't able to watch the full game, right? I was able to watch the first 60 minutes of the game because I was at my cousin's wedding, right? And I had to leave the wedding to get on a plane to fly back to Cape Town. So yeah, I couldn't watch the full game, but I I think I saw enough to give a some good astute observations, right? Based on the 60 minutes that I saw, and I think that will be very very valuable insight to the audience. So first things first, let's discuss what happened in the early minutes of the first half. So in the earlier minutes of the first half, right, we were on the back foot. 100% on the back foot. West Ham were the aggressors and we were being passive, right? We were just allowing them to come at us, right? Now, I'm seeing a worrying trend, right? And that worrying trend is Chelsea starting slow out of the blocks, right? We started slow out of the blocks against Liverpool. What happened? We conceded first. We started slow against West Ham, right? And it ultimately led to us conceding in the first 10 minutes of the game, which is crazy. So yeah, I think that Mauricio Pochettino needs to somehow do something. Him and his coaching staff, they need to do something to get the players in the right frame of mind from the time the referee's whistle goes off, bro. Because we can't have a situation where we start games slowly, week after week after week, and then maybe we'll try come back later on. Because the problem with that is it can work for a little while, but then you might find yourself in a situation where you're starting games slowly and you start really, really terribly, like really badly. And before you know it, it's like maybe 35 minutes gone and you're 3-0 down or something like that. We don't want that. So we need to address this problem of starting games slowly. Another thing, even though you could say, oh, okay, we have certain players with character and all of that, right? Starting slowly reduces our chances of winning because what could happen is we go 2 goals down because we're sleeping at the beginning of the game. Then we get 2 goals back, right? We equalize, but ultimately you could find that we could have easily won the game if we weren't sleeping in the first few minutes. So we need to weed that out. That's the first thing that we need to weed out. But nonetheless, like I said, West Ham were the aggressors and we were still sleeping in the early minutes of the game, right? And that led to us conceding a goal, right? Now, with the goal, right, with the concession of the goal, I want to break down two key two key components that I see. Maybe we can even say three, right? So the first thing is the man on the set piece for West Ham, the man who took the corner for West Ham is James Ward-Prowse. James Ward-Prowse is excellent, absolutely excellent at taking set pieces. We saw it at his time at Southampton with his free kicks, but also from corners, he's extremely dangerous, right? And he showcased his ability in that way yesterday. So now James Ward-Prowse takes West Ham's corner in the first half, right? It's a beautiful ball into the box, right? And Naif Aguerd is going for the ball, right? He jumps and he leaps high into the air and he heads the ball home and it's 1-0 West Ham. Now, my problem with conceding the way we did is not necessarily that, oh, we conceded from a set piece, conceded from a corner. It's not necessarily that. It's the manner in which you conceded. So if you actually look at the actually look at the replay, you'll see two key errors in Chelsea's setup. Number one, Gallagher is the man who was marking Aguerd, right? However, Aguerd jumps for the ball, right? And I think he's 1.9 meters tall. Yeah, he's 1.9 meters tall. He jumps for the ball, and Gallagher is his man who's marking him, but he doesn't contest. He does not jump at all, bruv. His feet are rooted to the ground, you know? And I'm just thinking to myself, if Gallagher challenges for that ball, if he contests for that ball, maybe that puts Aguerd off his balance, and then maybe the corner, maybe the header, falls into the arms of Sanchez in goal, right? And that's that. And it ends there, you know? And then West Ham don't score. We don't go 1-0 down in the first 10 minutes of the game, right? That's what I'm thinking. Another key issue is the fact that there was no one on the back post. Like, why is there no one on the back post? So when I saw the replay, I could see Gallagher's part in the goal being conceded. And when I watched the highlights just now, I could see that he's not the only one at fault. Another player who's at fault is who looks to be at fault is Thiago Silva. Because it looks like Thiago Silva is the man who should have been on the back post, but he wasn't. And because he wasn't, the ball went into the back of the net. Now, I think if I were to watch the replay more and more and more and more, maybe then I could be able to say, is Thiago at fault or not? Right? Maybe I'm being a bit harsh. Maybe I am. But at the end of the day, somebody should have been on the back post. And perhaps we can even look to Sanchez, right, to say, you should have organized your defenders. What's going on? Why is there no one at the back post and you're just allowing that as the goalkeeper? You know, you can see everything. The other players can't see everything, but you can. So why aren't you making sure that we're well organized to defend the set piece? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think you could look at Thiago Silva and Robert Sanchez as maybes in terms of individuals to blame for the goal, but Conor Gallagher is definitely one to blame for the goal, just because of the fact that he did not contest at all. Conor's 1.82 meters tall, right? So if they both jumped, right, and he still wasn't able to defend Aguero's header, I have no issue with that. But at least contested, bro. At least contested. Why are you not jumping, you know? So that kind of frustrated me, right? Now, after conceding the goal, we did take control of the game, like, and we were trying to, how can I say this? We were trying to make things happen, right? And we had a lot of the possession, right? We had control of the game, but we were struggling to create clear-cut goal scoring chances, right? Now, there were a few good things that we could see, right? A few differences from this season to last season. Last season, we would just pass the ball, right? Sideways and backwards, right? And you didn't really hope for much, you know. But this season, what I can see is the way in which we're moving the ball is like we're moving the ball in triangles. Sometimes, yes, we'll still go sideways, we'll still go backwards, but we're moving the ball in triangles, right? And trying to progress up the pitch in that way. So I appreciate that. But I don't appreciate the fact that we're struggling to create clear-cut goal scoring chances. We need to improve on that. And it's really not good enough. Like, Poch really needs to find a way to make this team into a team where, okay, whether it's an open game where it's end to end, or whether our position are playing a low block, we need to be able to move the ball in such a way that we're going to create clear-cut goal scoring chances. Because otherwise, I don't see how we're gonna win games. So there's that. Then one thing I can say I actually did like also, right, that I saw apart from the passing of the ball in triangles is the fact that Sterling was good. Sterling, in my opinion, was very good because his final product at time left a little bit to be desired. You know, you're just thinking, Sterling, come on, do better with the final pass, with the final ball. Come on, you're better than this, Sterling. You know what I'm saying? Your execution should be a level above where it is. However, with that said, Sterling was getting on the ball yesterday and he was causing West Ham problems. He was getting fouls, you know, and later on he even got a penalty for us. So Sterling is someone who I can look at yesterday who played and say, you know what, these other people were not on the level that they should have been, but you actually tried, you know, you gave it your best and you actually did quite well. So I'm happy with Sterling, how he played. Another player who I'm happy with is Nicholas Jackson. I noted against Liverpool that he was always making these runs in behind, even when the ball is not coming, right? And he kept the same approach with West Ham. The only thing is that it unfortunately didn't come off, right? It almost came off in an instance where Sterling played him the ball, he ran through on goal, right? And he took a touch past the keeper, and the keeper fouled him, and we thought we were going to get a penalty. But unluckily for us, he was slightly offside. So yeah, that's unlucky, but it's showing the right kind of intention. Sterling has the ball, he plays it into a space that Nicholas Jackson is running onto, and if Nicholas was just like a little bit more patient, you know, He paid a bit more attention to detail. He stays on side, we get a penalty. So I think his runs like that are going to help us in the long term, and it's what I like to see from my players. So yeah, I'm happy with him in relation to that aspect of the game. Um, what else is it to discuss? Now, let's talk about Carney Chukwuemeka's goal in the 28th minute of the game. That was simply lovely. That was simply lovely. I won't lie, I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it because against Liverpool, Carney didn't play that well, right? He wasn't terrible, but he didn't play that well, and it was just like, he was okay, you know. And in the first half of the game against West Ham, he was all right, right? Not spectacular for me, but he was all right. Now, what happened in the lead up to his goal? So Ben Chilwell gets the ball on the left flank, right? And he puts in a ball into the box, and that ball is cleared by a West Ham player. Well, half cleared. It was actually a very bad clearance. And now that ball comes to Carney Chukwuemeka, right? So he gets the ball, right? He's facing up to the defender, right? I think it was maybe Thomas Suchek. I might have been Suchek. It might have been Sufa. I'm not too sure, right? He's facing up to the defender, right? He does a little shimmy, right, to the right, beats his man and gets a shot away, and it ripples the back of the net. And that made me really happy. You know, when that ball went in, I couldn't celebrate loud because I was at my cousin's wedding, of course, and they were doing a whole reception and everything like that. But I was really, really happy for him because that's his first Chelsea goal, you know, his first senior goal, and he really, really, truly deserves it. So I'm happy for him, right? And it was a good piece of play from him to get the goal. Now, following that, we were cooking still. You know, we were still making things happen. You know, still putting the pressure on West Ham, but we didn't really do much with all the possession that we had. You know, um, I remember there was a chance that West Ham got shortly after we had scored. I think it was in the 35th minute, maybe, right? Now West Ham got this chance, right? And Paqueta had the ball. He's in the box, right? Nobody's getting close to him. He gets a shot away, and it just goes wide of the post. And that reminded me that as much as it's 1-1, we're on top, you know, we're controlling the game. West Ham still have a say in this. They're very, very dangerous on the counter attack. I was still cognizant of that fact, right? Oh, damn, sorry. So now I was still cognizant of that fact, right? And later on in the half, right, I think it was the 43rd minute, right? Sterling gets the ball, right? And Sterling, he was doing what he does best, right? He's beating players, being direct, taking them on, right? And luckily, he wins a penalty for us. Now you're thinking, okay, Chelsea have a penalty. It's 1-1, but it's about to be 2-1, you know, and then from there, Chelsea can just calm things down, you know, maybe get a third goal, wrap things up, get the W, and go back to Stamford Bridge, right? But no, it was not to be. Because the man that stepped up for the penalty, Enzo Fernandez, ended up missing. Now, Enzo Fernandez is a good player. He really, really is a good player, right? But I want the fan base to acknowledge something from his miss yesterday. Acknowledge that he's also going to make mistakes, number one. Number two, when he makes mistakes, hold him accountable as well. Because I think what Chelsea fans do a lot of the time is a player like Enzo Fernandez gets hyped a lot, right? He gets all the flowers, right? Even if the whole team were to play well, because he's seen as one of the best players on the pitch, right? Maybe the most likable, right? People gas him up, they hype him up and everything like that, forgetting the contributions of others, right? Then they want to criticize, they only want to talk about others when they're criticizing them. Whereas this particular time, the star boy, he made a mistake, right? And now I don't think we should throw hate towards him or anything like that, but I want us to hold him accountable. I want us to hold him accountable because just think about it. The game ended 3-1. But if he scored that goal and made it 2-1, maybe the game could have been different. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying, oh, go abuse Enzo, whatever. All I'm saying is hold him accountable, you know? Acknowledge that his mistake in that situation played a part in us not getting the victory yesterday. In fact, in us being embarrassed yesterday. So, yeah. Now, the first half ended, and unfortunately, Carney Chukwuemeka went off injured, right? And it's not looking good, bruv. And the reason I'm saying it's not looking good is because when he was coming off the pitch, right, he it looked like he couldn't put weight on his left leg. It looked like it would be painful for him to put weight on his left leg. So that was a bit concerning for me, number one. Then number two, after the game, I saw on CFC news page, right? That's an account on Instagram that he left the London stadium with crutches. And that's never a good sign. That is never a good sign. If a player goes off injured, what you'd hope for is they just walk off. They don't need assistance coming off. They're not limping off. They can just walk off, right? And for them to leave the stadium under their own power. They don't need crutches or stretcher or anything like that. That's what you hope for when a player is injured. But when a player is now on crutches, leaving a stadium, that's not a good sign, bro. It's not a good sign. And we already have an extensive injury list, so to add him to that would be a bit of a problem still. It would be a bit of a problem. So those are my thoughts on the first half, right? Now, in the second half, it was more of the same from us, really, in terms of controlling it, but not taking our chances, you know. But what I'd like to add to that is that we are not very strong defensively right now. And perfect case in point of that is Axel Disasi having the ball, right? He's in possession of the ball. He tries to play a pass into midfield. What happens? He loses the ball, right? Cool. So now the ball is picked up by a West Ham player. I think it was James Ward-Prowse, if I'm not mistaken, right? And a ball is played over the top, right, to Michail Antonio, right? Now, Levi Colwill did a very, very poor job of defending Antonio. Like, the way in which Colwill challenged Antonio for the ball was so weak. It was so, so weak. Like, even schoolboy football would be better than that. Like, the challenge that he provided to Antonio was nothing. It's like it's as if it was nothing. That's how weak it was, right? So now Antonio's running in on goal. Disasi's also like he's tracking him, right? But at the same time, what Disasi does when Antonio gets into the box is that Disasi is backing off. He's coming off Antonio, right? Just like Colwill did with Salah last week, right? And what did that end up resulting in? That ended up resulting in a goal, right? Now I'm thinking to myself, right? If Disasi puts pressure on Antonio, Antonio may have thought twice about shooting. And let's say he still went for the shot regardless. He might not have scored. Disasi could have blocked the shot, goes out for a corner, goes out for a throw, whatever it may be, we move on. But no, he backs off, gives him time and space, and Antonio's like, you know what? I'm going to put this into the corner. And he puts it into the corner beautifully, and he gives West Ham the lead. It's 2-1, you know? So, yeah. That's about as much of the game as I watched. And I don't really want to speak on other things. I don't like speaking on things that I haven't seen myself. So that's where I'm going to end the scope of the review. I'm just going to mention a few other things that happened, including Aguerd, the goal scorer of West Ham's first goal, being sent off for a reckless challenge in the 67th minute, right? He got his second yellow card for a reckless challenge and he got sent off. Now, I think it's a bit embarrassing still that we finished the game with one more man than West Ham, but we still couldn't score, number one. And number two, we conceded. That's crazy to me. That right there is crazy to me. So, yeah. But anyway, we move on. And then after that, apparently, Moises Caicedo dropped a stinker, right? And I haven't seen video evidence of that, but I have seen the fact that he gave away the penalty at the end for West Ham to score and to make it 3-1. So that's not good. He needs to do much better when you play Luton Town on Friday. So yeah, I think that's where I'm going to leave the review, guys. As much as this wasn't a positive display yesterday, it's not something that we can positively reflect upon. I think I have a solution. Thursday, I'm going to film a preview for the Luton game, right? And in that video, I will outline the solution that I have to the problems that we faced this past week. So, yeah, I think that's where I'm going to end the video. And thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and them thing there. And yeah, peace.